People usually imagine societal collapse as something loud. They picture sudden chaos, markets crashing overnight, and streets immediately going dark. But actual decay is almost entirely quiet. Before any dramatic ending, there is a long period where the trains still run, food is still sold, and families still make plans for next year. From the outside, life looks normal. Consider this structural model of an aging bridge. From a distance, the shape is intact as cars cross, but microscopic fractures are spreading inside the metal. It doesn't fail immediately. It collapses when hidden weakness meets sudden external pressure. The Roman world hollowed out over generations. Long before an army reached the gates, the empire was strained by a failing economy, expensive military upkeep, and political instability that the old systems could no longer solve. A society can maintain the appearance of power while the interior becomes hollow. The visible structure is the last thing to fall because the invisible structure fails first. This network model shows the invisible structure. Glowing energy moving between points represents trust, the currency allowing strangers to cooperate and solve public problems quickly. But when trust evaporates, people assume corruption. Connections sever, energy stalls, and society fragments into isolated, competing reality bubbles. As that fragmentation spreads, the roles that give people a sense of utility, neighbor, worker, citizen, begin to break down. When these roles no longer provide a clear path to dignity or security, individuals are left cut off from the very structures that make a society feel purposeful. To fill the void left by these broken local roles, people seek out abstract, high-signal identities. They find belonging in extreme political movements or digital tribes because these offer a sense of mission that their physical community no longer provides. A low-trust society paralyzes itself. It turns every basic issue, from disaster response to repairing a road, into a fierce battle over motives. The system burns its energy arguing with itself instead of building. To compensate for lost trust, societies add complexity, layering on regulations, managers, and experts. But it reaches a tipping point. Solving any problem requires more complexity, creating new problems. The society starts spending more energy maintaining itself than actually functioning. Under this crushing weight, institutions slowly change their primary goal. Instead of solving the public issues they were created for, they focus on survival. They defend their budgets, hide failures, and punish internal critics. This creates a bizarre illusion of action. The system generates massive amounts of activity, endless committee meetings, emergency campaigns, and reports, while actual repair drops to zero. A society in this state is trapped. It has all the knowledge required to survive, but absolutely no ability to turn that knowledge into action. Every complex society develops an elite class of political leaders, corporate executives, and technical experts to coordinate all of these moving parts. And any living system relies on feedback. A human body needs to feel pain to know it's injured. A society needs to feel consequences to know a policy is failing its citizens. When a systemic hierarchy shields the top tier, warning signals from below cannot penetrate. The leadership loses its feedback loop. They look at spreadsheets and perceive stability, while actual economic and social suffering spreads rapidly through the tiers below them. Because the reaction is delayed, problems are allowed to fester until crises start to overlap. Economic stress, technological disruption, and institutional failure pile up, plunging the society into a state of permanent emergency. By the time decision-makers feel the urgency, it is often too late. The public is exhausted, having lost the capacity to respond to the constant state of crisis, and they no longer trust the leadership to fix anything. We have to stop thinking about collapse as the final building falling. A society has officially collapsed the moment it loses the ability to correct its own mistakes. A healthy society builds its future by creating assets that support life. But this diagram shows a system in decay, melting down its own foundations to keep the gears turning. You see this when a society stops viewing a house as a place to raise a family and starts viewing it as a vehicle for speculation, trading the long-term stability of its citizens for short-term financial motion. The eventual financial crash or political rupture is usually just the final echo of a system that died quietly years prior. Decline hides in plain sight, looking a lot like normal daily life. The true collapse is psychological. It breaks in the mind before it breaks in the street. It is the deep cynicism that sets in when everyone knows the system is failing, but no one believes it can change. But there is another side to this mechanic. If systemic collapse begins quietly, then systemic renewal can begin quietly as well. Repair does not start with dramatic revolutions or grand speeches. It begins by rebuilding trust in small, local places. It happens when complexity is simplified, and when leaders are once again exposed to the consequences of their actions. Every complex society is fragile, but fragile does not mean doomed. It means dependent. It depends on citizens choosing truth over comfort and choosing to participate rather than emotionally exit. The most dangerous collapse is the one that is accepted as routine. Surviving it requires noticing the invisible cracks long before the bridge actually falls.